All right, guys, here we are today, another episode of the East Van podcast. Today we're visiting 1000 Parker Street, an awesome venue, which is the location this year of the East Vancouver Culture Crawl, an excellent exhibition of tons of multimedia artists. We're going to go inside, we're going to check it out. It's going to be awesome. Come on in. Here we are, guys. East Van Culture Crawl. Phillip Steven. This is his own studio space. All of his work is behind us. Phil, how you doing?
I'm doing well, John. Good to see you here.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us how you got involved with the East Van Culture Crawl.
Okay, well, it started probably when I moved here to Vancouver. This is my first year showing in the crawl, but I lived near Commercial Drive when I first moved here and heard about the crawl, checked out a few places, and was really quite amazed at how many hidden studios there are throughout the east side, especially Strathcona, where there's all these little character homes you'd never suspect were art studios. So as my career in visual art, in art developed, I thought to myself, if I got a studio, I need to get it on somewhere in this culture crawl.
Why East Van? Out of all the other neighborhoods, out of everywhere in Vancouver, why is East Van the best? Why do you choose East Van?
Well, I mean, I look like an East Vanner, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I do. Well, I was here when I first moved here, and I've been in the West End. I've been in different areas of town, and the area around the Drive, I find, is where people are most down to earth, more creative folk, really socially aware, politically active, and it just seems like a very dynamic community where you actually care about your neighbors, where you want to see what they're doing, and there's just so much going on in music, in art, and culture. It's just great to see what other people are doing, and then, of course, to be supported in turn with what I'm
doing. How do we get a hold of you? Yeah. Is there some way? Like, is it up here on the wall?
There is a website, and it might be somewhere around.
I can't see it. Where it's got to be around here somewhere. Is it in one of your photos? Maybe. It's over here. No.
Yeah, it's there.
All right, guys. Well, that is our little segment with Phil Steven. Excellent. Do you have a business card or a flyer we could check out as well?
I found my postcard that I put up here, one of my little graffiti images, but also sweet and cute, with the little Phillip Steven je sais quoi.
Great. Phillip Steven, guys. phillipsteven.com is how you get a hold of him. His art is for sale. He's pimping it out. He's selling it. Go get it. East Van. Word. Here we are, guys, the East Van podcast, right in the midst of the Vancouver Eastside Culture Crawl with Grant Mercs. Grant, how you doing?
Great.
Awesome, good. So here we are in front of a lot of your work that's on display here at the Culture Crawl. What are your influences? How do you do this? Why this medium? All that.
I started drawing when I was about 3 years old, and if you look at these pieces, these large paintings actually have lots of drawing in them. And my influence as far as painting goes are pretty much traditional Western art history. A very, very Reader's Digest version of this is Jackson Pollock meets Dutch genre painting in the 17th century. And a lot of this is actually very traditional painting. And when you look at the spheres and such, it's all drawn in, and a lot of the splatters are drawn in. And the spheres kind of act as a counterbalance to the rest of the painting, and it's built up and up and up and up. There's probably upwards of 80 or 90 layers of pigment on these works, paintings.
You can totally see, like, if you're standing and looking at it from the side, you can actually see the layers underneath and everything. How did you find out about the Vancouver Eastside Culture Crawl? How long have you been involved with it?
I actually came to the very first one that was held in the Parker building a billion years ago. I used to have a studio here, and I've lived in East Vancouver on and off since the 80s.
Why the East Side? Over all the other neighborhoods, over all of Vancouver. You live on the East Side, obviously. Why the East Side?
Well, the east side was always a bit more open. I mean, I used to live on Commercial Drive 20 odd years ago, and back then, back in the old punk rock days, there were a few punk rockers, there were a couple of hippies, there was one awful bar to have a drink on in the whole place.
Was that the Portuguese Club?
There was that and Avanti's, the sports bar. But, I mean, you could look like the craziest person on earth and no one would hassle you there. But I find I've been to other ones like Culture Crawls on the west side and North Van and such. And the east side, because traditionally real estate dictates artist studios, and the east side has always been cheaper than the west side. So you get more people that are more serious about it. And I find that in East Van, there's more wide range, it's more open, the attitude is more committed to the art, to the culture, and you're going to get people coming here, I find, in other parts of town that tend to be a bit more high scale. Conversely, things become a lot more conservative and you have a very limited range of what's allowed. Like in this space, I'm showing a good friend of mine, Morgan Owens, who's a wonderful photographer, and there's quite a distance aesthetically between what we do, but that's kind of cool, and that's more allowable in East Van.
That's great, man. That's great. All right. Well, there you have it. Grant Merce, the East Van Culture Crawl, and this is Jonny Vancouver saying I'll see you guys outside. All right, guys, there it is. That is another episode of the East Van podcast. This time we went to the Vancouver East Side Culture Crawl, an excellent venue, an excellent selection of artists. We talked to a bunch of cool people, and it was great. I had a good time. Even got to dance a little. Fantastic. So, there it is, guys. Hope you tune in next time. No idea what the subject will be. Don't even know when it'll come up. All I know is East Van.